Week was pretty ass. It was a pretty shit week. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even want to get into all of it. I just want to delete it from my mind. It's a long shit ass week. Adam is apparent. Am I muted? Can you guys hear me? I hear you just fine. Are you muted on OBS? That's the only way I can think of it.
Okay, how about now? That should probably do it. They should probably hear me now. I think I know what happened there. It's probably, yeah, that would do it. Which means I wonder if that went to the video. Probably not. So that's going to be awkward for everyone. It's going to be silence for like the first 30 seconds. It's absolutely nothing. Then Jeff just randomly starts talking. So, Technical Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thursday, 10th of April, something. Small talk about snow. Fuck snow. Jeff had a bad week. Here we are. I suspect that, yeah, the audio was just because it was not set to output. Last week, many of you will have painfully remember that my audio was all sorts of fucked up. That was because of my audio interface, part of my audio interface dying.
Yep.
In the strangest way that I've seen. So, basically, something after the microphone preamp internally, whether it was like a resistor or something that has to do with the impedance, or something similar, was fried. And so when I got beyond a certain volume input on my mic, even though it was way below anything that would ever resemble clipping, it was clipping or distorting like an electric guitar would. Except you want that on an electric guitar. You don't want that on your microphone, at least not for our application. So that took a while to figure out, but figured it out. That was part of my week, was actually fucking around, figuring out what the hell was going on. With that took most of the day after the podcast. I spent 5 hours afterwards, had Marky Mark in there, and Fox having to listen to me. They were my test subjects. They had to listen to see, what was going on. Which, for those here who've been here long enough, you know that when Jeff and I test microphones, we basically just sound like idiots. Just, yeah. So imagine these poor fuckers listening to that for 5 hours while I'm dicking around with microphones and shit. They were troopers. They hung in there, and we figured it out eventually. And for better or worse, this was a week for me as well, insofar as that first it was the interface. So I have a rental right now while the other one is off, either getting fixed or they may have to just outright replace it. But it's under warranty, so that's fine. So that happened, and then the next day, my graphics card dies, and I was like, "Fuck you! What do you mean?" And again, similar to that, it didn't die in the sense that it wouldn't work in its entirety, but every time I would boot up games that needed a certain amount of VRAM, it would crash the graphics driver to the desktop, but the computer itself never crashed. And some older games, it didn't crash either. And so I was really confused at first. I went through all the bullshit trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. And eventually that was the first thought I had, or well, not the first, it was the last thought I had. And I went into Canada Computers when I was out for groceries. I stopped in, and because they have a tech desk there where you can bring computers to get, they can try to do this troubleshooting and whatnot. I just needed somebody else to bounce ideas off of, because I'd been racking my fucking brain about what could possibly be causing this specific behavior for a couple days. And they had the same thought. They were like, it might be the VRAM. Just like with RAM, except your whole computer doesn't crash. If there's a bad spot on your VRAM and the graphics card or the software or whatever you're using is trying to read or write from that sector of memory, it crashes the driver. And so if you're playing an older game, like some of the older games I played, it didn't crash, or at least not right away, because it wasn't using a whole bunch of RAM, so it wasn't trying to access those shit portions of the VRAM. So it was very confusing as why the fuck is some games working and some games not working, and what the fuck? So one of the solutions, of course, is to put in another graphics card. And as everyone knows right now, one does not simply walk into Mordor. One does not simply just fucking, like, you know, pick up a graphics card at your local 7-Eleven right now. You ain't even fighting soccer moms. You're fighting everything plus the economy to try to get a graphics card right now. And so I was not feeling particularly good about that, but I went to the front desk and I was like, bro, listen. I know it's tough out here on these streets, but I need you to look and see what you got in stock right now for graphics cards. What are we working with? And he looked at me, he was like, it's like, you're not going to like it probably, but let's check and see what we got. So he pulled up the computer screen, he's seeing what he's got in stock. He's like, and I was like, that doesn't sound good. He's like, nah, NVIDIA, we only got like 4060s. I was like, oh, God damn. Fuck. Okay, what else you got? He's like looking around. He's like, yeah, we just sold like the last 9070 XT here earlier today. You could see it on the back shelf, like the order section that they had back there. It was sitting there. I was like, you son of a fucking bitch. Somebody already got in here and fucking taken that card. And he was like, wait. I was like, oh, what do you mean? What do you got? He's like, wait, hold on. No, he was like, no way. I said, what do you mean? No, just fucking tell me what's going on right now. He's like, stop playing with the fucking balls. Tell me what's going on. Said like an hour ago, the manager just took two 7900 XTXs off of a pallet out back. We literally just got them like this morning. They're both here. Neither of them had sold. I was like, God damn, this is what happened to Jeff. It's like, we're getting this twice in one go? What the fuck? This store is a horseshoe.
You better jump on it, because you wait 30 more minutes, that shit's gone.
I know. I was like, I was just like, in my head I'm thinking, God damn it. Like, if this is the car, I'm so salty because it's so expensive. I was like, all right, tell me, what's the damage? It's like, how expensive is this fucker going to be? Because I know what I paid for my 7900 XTX. And he flips the screen around, and I read the number, and I was like, No, and I had a hernia right there in the fucking store. It was $1,350 before tax. Which means it's like over $1,500. And I just about threw up my mouth. But I didn't have much choice. In fact, the 9070 XTs also cost about that much money now. Mr. Black was like one of the last people to get like the first major batches of those XTs before the MSRP in stores started to creep up. And so they're not selling for a hell of a lot less money. So I was like, all right, fine, fuck it, fine, fuck. What's your return policy? How much time do I have with this thing? Because really, I just need to see right now, because I didn't know for sure. I was like, I'm just going to swap this in and see if the problem goes away. And if it goes away, I know it's the graphics card. And if it doesn't, I'm salty, but I'm also happy because literally any other component in this fucking computer is like orders of magnitude less money than this fucking graphics card right now. So I don't know what I'm hoping for, but I'm just going to take this home and see what happens. He's like, all right, so you rung it up, took it home, plugged it in, son of a bitch, fixed the fucking goddamn problem. So I'm salty. But the silver lining here is that my original card was still under warranty. It's a 2-year warranty from XFX. I got it like 18 months. I still had 6 months or so. It was like into November, December, somewhere in there. So I was like, thank fucking God. So I immediately, and I already had it registered too. I had 3 brain cells that day. It's one of the few things I've ever registered as a fucking product in my life. I signed into the website. I saw it there. I was like, yes! Yes! I did it! I was smart for 3 seconds! And so I immediately like opened the RMA. I told them everything I did. I was like, I'm just looking for a replace or repair. Now we're waiting. We're going to see what happens. So if I get that back, I'll probably just keep the one that I have from the store, sell the other one, and there'll be a minimal, there'll be a minor loss on it, but I'd rather just start with a new, fresh amount of fucking warranty on one and just sell the other one off, and go there. So I mean, this was all dubs for there. But strange, I've never had a graphics card do that. I've had a graphics card die. It literally exploded and took my fucking power supply with it. But I've never had like such an oddly specific fucking weird thing where it was working.
My old 1080 Ti literally caught on fire in my computer.
True, it did. Yes, that happened.
Caught on fire. I was like, Dr. Penfield.
What do I smell? I smell burnt GPU.
Yes, and I look down, there's literal smoke coming from my fucking computer. I open it up and there's a flame. Like actual
Oh shit!
like
Like
sparks
at the
and
connector
flame.
or something?
It was coming right at the connector, like right where the
Okay.
graphic card plugs in. It was literal like small fire. I'm like,
my
whoa!
God.
Yep, and it was dead.
You know what? You got to pay good money for that kind of experience these days. You buy like a 5080, 5090, you can watch that fire all over again, except it doesn't take like 4 years. It's like day 3. Shit's on fire. It's, but I do remember that. I remember that catching on fire, which is still weird because like that was an 8-pin connector. And you had a decent power supply too. So like that was some fucky shit. That was just some act of God type shit on that one. But anyway, that was my week. So very expensive week, unfortunately. The 2 most expensive pieces of gear in this room, both at the same time. Some Murphy's Law type shit. But thankfully, both under warranty. So big dubs on the warranty front, and we're back in action. But that was mostly my week, was just spending money and troubleshooting what I needed to spend money on. It was like my entire existence for this week. And then just continuing the finalization of getting ready for the honeymoon. We go away in a couple of weeks. And so I'm just trying to get the last of whatever clothes I feel like I might need to try to get my hands on. Things like that, trying to get some shoes as well, which is a nightmare, but I might get lucky. I ordered some. We'll see if I got lucky on that front. And that's been mostly it. And then just cursing the snow outside. And that's all, which means now it's time, Mr. Black, talk about some video game news. It's not a lot, but there's some interesting stuff in here, but not very much. We'll start it off with Blizzard. Blizzard was in the news, and it wasn't because of drinking breast milk, so that's a positive. Blizzard is reportedly taking pitches from Korean developers, various Korean developers, for Starcraft games, Starcraft and Starcraft accessories. The companies that we're aware of, anyway, or reportedly that they have been in talks with, are NCSoft, Nexon, Netmarble, and Krafton. As far as who we're aware of at this time. NCSoft is behind games like, if you don't know, games like Guild Wars, my favorite MMO of all time, and Lineage. Nexon is behind a slew of well-known free-to-play games. I mean, Nexon is... If you've played any free-to-play games, there is a stupid high probability chance it was published by Nexon, or developed by them, as behind stuff like the recent The First Descendant. Netmarble has some more or some lesser-known mobile-like games. And of course, Krafton is now the owner and operator of PUBG. And also the most recent thing that took over the streamer verse for a short time. I don't know if it still is, but that Sims-like Inzoi or whatever the hell it's called, with where you can use AI to create a character and all that shit. I've seen some people play. So obviously, generally speaking, other than the common thread through there are many of those are free to play. Not all of them, but many of them are free to play. That's a pretty, those developers represent quite a broad spectrum of video game genres that they individually develop for, or their specialty. It's not like they're all the same kind of thing. So interesting, and clearly to me it signals that Blizzard is open to not just a couple of genres, but they're interested to see what people are willing to do with the StarCraft license, generally speaking. Like anything. Like, what do you got? We want to use StarCraft. We know we're not making StarCraft 3 in-house anyway. It's not happening. So what can we do to monetize this property? And they're hearing from all sorts of these companies. So back in September, it's important to perhaps remember that it was discovered that Blizzard was attempting to do a StarCraft FPS again, although that obviously went deep underground and may or may not, although we don't know with certainty, have been canceled or killed off, similar to StarCraft Ghost way back in the day, which after many delays ended up being fired off into the sun. But it's possible that, at least one of those with the First Descendant under Nexon, they could be open to an FPS of some kind, but it sounds like they might also be open to stuff like MMOs, mobile games, and assorted varieties of stuff. So I'll ask Mr. Black here, if you were at Blizzard, and you were trying to, you know that we've got Starcraft, which that's a license with some weight behind it as an IP, and you were trying to best come up with a way to earn some money off of this, and you know that RTS is probably not on the table for it, at least not in the traditional sense. What would you personally think that you would like to try to chase after or give license to some of these pitches for games like that? What kind of genre do you think you might like to see StarCraft be put in if you were in Blizzard trying to, get some life out of a property that's kind of stuck in its RTS form right now?
I mean, do I have to choose one, or am I allowed to say I don't want to see any game? Like,
well, you can say you don't want to see any, but personally, if you don't want to see any, like, I totally get that. But if you were at Blizzard and you were trying to, if you were trying to make the right move to try to make some money off of StarCraft, what do you think would be the most likely or highest success rate that they could try to use for the IP to try to get some cash flow going on that? Because, I mean, we know that they've got World of Warcraft and stuff, but Blizzard doesn't have a lot. They're obviously looking to do some more with what few IP they have, like Diablo and whatnot. So what do you think StarCraft might best fall under, since RTS is not, a breadwinner at this point in time? It's tough.
It's tough. It's real tough. I don't know. I think an MMO is a no-go. I think the genre is just dying out as a whole, like the traditional sense of an MMO.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably what I'd least want to see. I mean, maybe a first-person shooter. I mean, you make a first-person shooter game. You give it a campaign. I mean, there's a lot that you can do. I mean, there's 3 different races. A lot of known characters, and even if people don't understand StarCraft or even really heard of it or played it, I feel like, the lore is there to kind of create something. You don't really have to think too much about story and just kind of get down good gameplay.
Kind of like Warhammer almost. I think you can just, even if you don't know what Warhammer is, you look at it and you're like, okay, badass dudes with guns and heavy metal, I can kind of get behind. Get behind that.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, I think probably the first-person shooter is it would be the play. And it's probably the reason why Blizzard was attempting to do a first-person shooter game. I mean, in a perfect world, one of these companies would go and make StarCraft 3, but that's just not going to happen. I mean, that'll cost way too much money. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You can't really make a game too close to, say, Overwatch and stuff, because then you're competing with another IP. They're already getting smacked around because of Marvel Rivals. I really think first-person shooter is pretty much the only thing, unless, I mean, the corporate side would be, okay, well, then let's just make a mobile game. Let's make a mobile game and call it a day. Now, I don't know exactly what that mobile game would be, but you just make a mobile game, throw it on there, call it a day, make a little bit of money. But I think if you're actually going to make a game that the masses are going to want to play, I think first-person shooter probably makes the most sense.
Yeah, I would agree. It is. It's really hard. I mean, it's not. I mean, I think we could all agree that StarCraft as an IP could be used for anything, because there's so much lore. There are the 3 races. There's a lot of ways in which you could take it. I don't think that it's not for lack of options. I think there's tons of options on the table. It's just how do you do something that doesn't just end up trapping you in a StarCraft fan base, which is big, but if it's outside of RTS, you have to wonder how much traction the fan base, still gives you outside of RTS, to give you a platform to jump off of to attract, non Starcraft fans into the fold. Because there's always in gaming right now, especially when you're talking about multiplayer games, there is definitely the kind of like the I call it like the house party effect.
Yeah.
Where you walk into a house party, and frequently what you'll see happen for most people when they walk into a house party at first, if there's enough people, you've got various groups in a house party. Some of them are smaller pockets, some of them are bigger pockets, and the vast majority of people that walk into a house party, unless you're socially averse, they typically gravitate towards the biggest group in the house party. They just assume that means that there's something more exciting being said or done in that area of the house party, right? So they at least start there. Maybe it's not the case, but at least that's their first jump. And I think that happens in games with multiplayer games, especially for the people who have now put such substantial weight on keeping track of like Steam charts, like how many people are currently on the game at any given moment throughout the week, and if it's not a certain number that in their mind is representative of a healthy game, it's dead game. And then as soon as something's labeled dead game, then it's like the house party where it's 4 people in the corner and everyone's like, the fuck are those 4 people doing over there? The fuck, nobody wants to spend any time in the weirdo corner. And so,
I mean, the XCOM, as people say in the chat, I mean, that's still another RTS, right? So like, if you're gonna be in that, I mean, I could definitely picture.
Well, it's a turn. It is turn-based. Yeah, it's a turn-based. It is strategy. I agree, though. I mean, sure. I mean, fuck it. You could go that route because it should give you some bridge for people who like strategy. There's a large group of people that play XCOM. Yeah. And I'm sure there's enough crossover that you could make some money on it. But my question is, how much does XCOM cost to make right now?
Exactly. And I feel like you're gonna want something that's gonna be a little bit more broader commercially. Like you're gonna want to, making another sort of a niche game is probably just not it at this point. But who knows? And I'll be honest, I don't even know if this will ever happen, man.
Well, I mean, companies take pitches all the time, right? It's just that this just seems notable because it's StarCraft specific, and I don't remember the last time ever hearing that Blizzard was going external to the company looking for ideas on how to or who's going to get licensed to make StarCraft content, right? Like every other time it's been in-house.
I just wish we just get another StarCraft, man. I just wish just give us StarCraft 3.
That's that's got to be like a $500 million game.
I get it.
StarCraft 3.
I get it, but you know what, man? I feel I mean, it's easy for me to spend somebody else's money. I get it. But just look at all of Blizzard's IPs outside of World of Warcraft and Call of Duty, because it's Activision. But I'm thinking like Blizzard's mainstay, obviously Diablo is Diablo, right?
Yep.
Like they'll make another Diablo. I really believe they'll make another Diablo. But like everything else is dying. It's like, if it costs you $400-500 million to actually create a really good StarCraft 3 and you just break even, right? And you find yourself in the same position you're in, not right now, but like where you're just not making a lot of money and it just kind of self-sustains itself. You at least keep the brand alive and you keep it like you're servicing a fairly large community of people that love the brand. And like, I don't know, maybe they're just over it. And I mean, they are. I mean, clearly they're over it, like esports as a whole. They just don't want to be in it anymore. But I mean, it just almost makes me sad that like Blizzard is considering licensing out StarCraft. Man, that's shit. I'd rather just not see. I'd rather just not see it. I'd rather just not see another game. Just let. look at Brood War. It has zero support. That game still is fairly large in Korea, at least. The StarCraft 2, it's literally dying, unfortunately. But there is still, there's still people that watch the game, play the game, enjoy the game. But they've let go of that too. There's like zero support anymore. It's just community ran. I mean, shit. Just give us StarCraft 3, man. Please. Blizzard, please. I mean, it's not going to happen because then they wouldn't be doing this, right? They just, if they're making StarCraft 3, this wouldn't even be in discussion. But I'm gonna just let it die, man. Just let it die then. Let it die.
What if?
And it's not because these publishers can't make great games.
Yeah,
they make great games.
Yeah.
But I don't want a great StarCraft FPS. I want a great StarCraft 3 RTS. That's what I want.
What
How
if
crazy
this
would that be, bro?
Well,
BlizzCon, boom, StarCraft 3. Boom! Hey, just imagine.
It'd be crazy for us. I think the rest of the crowd would go mild. But and the crowd goes mild.
Probably right.
Yeah. We'd be losing our shit, and there'd be a bunch of people that would just not be, they'd just be like, what are we even doing here? Woo! StarCraft!
Woo!
Okay, what if this is an opportunity? Here's the moonshot for us as people who would like to see StarCraft 3. What if them shopping this stuff out, clearly, like most of the stuff that these people would make are things that Blizzard themselves would likely not personally take on in-house. So what if this was a way for them to get somebody else generating StarCraft content so that they can themselves focus on what they're good at with StarCraft content instead? What if that's the play here? And internally, they're just looking for more ways than just relying on an in-house StarCraft game title to make money off of the StarCraft name.
You know what I think it is, bro? I think what this is they have zero desire to deal with StarCraft at all, clearly. And they've just got an IP, and they want to make money off it, but they don't want to take any financial risk. So they're saying, hey, somebody else pay us. We'll make money no matter what. I mean, if your game fails, we're still getting paid. We're still getting a percentage. Still get licensing fees, whatever else. And then if it's a big success, we're still getting paid. And go have fun. Good luck, have Batman. I think that's what that is. I don't think it's a long play. I don't think there's like, oh, let's go give it to this company and they'll like get the StarCraft name bigger and then we'll make StarCraft 3. I don't think that's it at all. I think they're just going, oh, you know what? The StarCraft thing, let's just go feed it off to somebody else. It's a big enough IP that we can make money off it, and it's a win-win for us.
I think that's probably the reality. I feel that's probably is the reality.
What do they got to lose? What do they have to lose? They have nothing to lose.
If it was me, and I was partially in it, where I was concerned about not just making money, because that's not what this is even about anymore. It's not making money, it's making quadrillions of dollars on any play that you make. So it's not about doing a project and knowing that you're going to break even and then make some money on the other side. That's not good enough anymore. We're looking at making just shitloads of fucking money off of damn near any game we put out. So, with that partially in mind, I would say that like my top options for StarCraft as an IP would be, I do agree, I think an XCOM-like thing is open without question. I think a Gears of War style roadie runner, third-person cover shooter type stuff with a horde mode because of Zerg and whatnot is definitely on the table. I think that the last one, I think that if they wanted to do like a StarCraft Ghost thing, but if you took the modern version of the Hitman games, like the one where they do episodes, where it's a few different assassination type things at once. If you do it on an episodic basis with Kerrigan or Nova, it'd be Nova, not Kerrigan, it'd be Nova, doing the Ghost stuff in a stealth action title episodic content. Hitman is still one of if not the only one that's occupying that kind of episodic shooter space. And it's doing really, I mean, that game like resurrected that fucking developer. It's doing so well. So I those would be my top 3 choices if I was doing it. Mobile, I'm not even going to mention, but if you were doing mobile, you could feasibly, of those 3 options, you could feasibly do the Hitman formula in a mobile environment alongside of PC releases. I think would be probably the most viable scenario. But I agree with you is that it feels weird to even think about somebody outside of Blizzard making a StarCraft game. It does sound odd. It feels like an own goal, like a little bit of like giving up on themselves, like they don't even think they can do it anymore, and so they're just farming the name for money now. Is what it does initially come off as.
Because why wouldn't they do that? Why wouldn't they
Blizzard
do
could do
things?
any of those things if they wanted to, really.
And slap Blizzard on it. They already have the whole ecosystem. I mean, dude, like, they just don't give a fuck about the IP anymore, man.
Yeah.
They just don't.
Which begs the question internal to Activision Blizzard and now under Microsoft, is because this is all under the same roof, is like, what do they care about? What are they, where are they putting their chips? Because their chips are not, it's not like they've moved many chips into Warcraft. It's there. It's on one step above life support. It's, you just came out of a coma, but you still have to eat hospital food. Like, that's kind of where they're at right now with Warcraft. Diablo 4 is, you're in the hospital, you're not even getting hospital food. You're just getting drip fed via an IV, and you're just there existing. That's pretty much where Diablo 4 is. And then they're just hoping that to like suck your life force out for all the dollars that mobile games can provide and those games can provide. StarCraft is your only other, because, well, Hearthstone, somebody accidentally tripped over the life support plug. And so now only one prong is in and the other one's just kind of dangling there. So occasionally some energy like jumps from the socket into the plug and just keeps them alive enough so that they're like right about to go. And then they're like, ah! And they're back, and then oh no, it had gone away again, and they're like, and then they come back, like, that's Hearthstone. So really, like, what do you fucking, if it was like the whole fucking developer, all of these legendary IPs
gone,
feel like they're just in like emaciated cow in a barn being milked for everything it's worth, but they haven't fed the cow in like 3 months. Like, there's nothing coming in to keep the cow going. It's just, it's looking dry. It's fire and blanks. The shit's out there, sawdust, fucking coming out the teats. It's rough, and so like that's what it feels like with StarCraft. With this, it's just the thought of farming these out to other developers is weird, and we'll have to see how it plays. But at the same time, if we don't get it from these guys, we're probably not ever getting anything StarCraft ever again. So it's kind of like a pick your poison scenario. Are you really willing to just let it die?
I mean, I'll give it a chance. Like, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see if anything actually precipitates out of that for sure. But it is crazy just thinking that Blizzard is just sitting there going, yeah, we can't do anything with this. Let's give it to some random mobile developers. This is crazy work. The Switch 2, we talked about that. The pricing and everything else. Chuck Testa. You can forget about all that pricing because we can't even be certain about it anymore. For now, we've got to wait and see how all this shakes out. This started with Nintendo for US customers specifically, but that's crept into Canada for some reason. Where there is no pre-orders, or there wasn't any pre-orders yesterday. That was the original pre-order date set. They said, no, we got to wait and see how these tariffs play out, because unfortunately when Trump Vanna White brought the board out and was showing off all of his amazing tariffs that they just literally did like some fucking grade 4 long division to come up with some random numbers to fucking do it that was based on trade deficits and not on anything else. And poor Vietnam got absolutely glassed from orbit with 90% that day. I think it's back down to 10 because they're fighting on too many fronts and China's really, really fucking digging their heels in. So like, all right, fine, fuck it. We're just going to fight China and everyone else gets 10%. At least that's now. By the time this podcast goes up, fuck knows, it could be different. But for now, that's where we're at. But at the time when Nintendo was about to go pre-order launch, because you'll remember the announcement was like the day of or just before Vanna White showed off all of the fucking
Vanna Orange. Get it right.
Vanna Orange. So true. Vanna Orange. That's how did I not think of that's right? That was on the table. I left it there. Thank you.
You left it right there. I had to put it in
Shit, that's
there.
good.
Come on.
That's good. So Vanna Orange, fuck that all up real good. and Nintendo was like, well, fuck. Because this isn't like an AMD graphics card situation where they had already sent a bunch of cards out before tariffs went in. So they were in stores on like not on shelves, but in warehouses in the country. This isn't a situation like that. So Nintendo had to pump the brakes and be like, we gotta wait and see how this fucking shakes out, because Vietnam is where Nintendo moved almost all of its production for hardware, or the vast majority of its production for hardware. And so when that comes out and they say 90% tariffs at the time,
they went
on Vietnam, Nintendo was like, well, we got to rethink this.
Fuck.
We got to fucking press the pause button. This shit's getting crazy. And all I could think of at the time was, if the Americans thought it was expensive before, wait until these tariffs come in on that Switch 2. It's about to go from $450 to $650 real fucking quick. But then again, 2 days later, 10% now. However, like with everything, there's so much uncertainty. Companies are trying to figure out, especially if you're launching a product, what do we go with? What do we assume is going to happen? Like, these could change overnight at any time. So Nintendo's in a bit of a sticky spot. It extended to Canada for some reason. I'm still not 100% certain why. We don't have any newfangled tariff situations with Vietnam or anything, in their supply chain.
I think what it would have been, I think the reason why is they would have delayed. I think they would have released until they had more certainty, and until all these negotiations and stuff are done. So, they can't just say, okay, we're going to ship the shit out to Canada, but US, you're going to be paying X amount dollars more. They're going to want to keep the pricing very competitive between the two, like, pretty much the same. Just, a USD and Canadian difference. I think the play there is like, hey, we're just going to stop because we may actually have to just change the release date altogether. There's no point even doing pre-orders.
Yeah.
Like, now this game ain't coming out until holiday,
Yeah.
Which is probably what would have happened. But, obviously now that the Judgment Day or Doomsday or whatever he called it
is back down to 10%.
Is back down to 10%. Now they can go, okay, so I'm sure that the pre-orders will come here soon.
Yeah. Just a wild. I feel for anyone trying to launch a product right now, because you're not getting a lot of sleep. Like, you're like hovering your hand over the launch button for your product, and you're like, now, can we, now, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes. And so, like, the Nintendo are probably, like, really struggling with that. Not to mention, they were really getting hounded bad by everyone, US or otherwise, for the price of the console to begin with. And so they're looking at tariffs going, fuck, God, we can't even, like, they might actually shoot us. They fucking put this shit out at $600 US. We might not live to see the day. So they're probably really trying to figure that out. So that happened. And I only found out about the Canada part yesterday when I logged in, because I was just like, I wonder if the pre-orders are up in Canada. And they were like, nope. You guys don't get anything either. So it's been a wild ride out there for more than just the Switch stuff, obviously, but that was one of the gaming specific things that came out of that whole uncertainty situation. Quick news with Bungie and some others, but Bungie, their marathon game, their next marathon game, which was announced, but we haven't really seen or heard tell of for quite some time. That's their extraction shooter based on one of their first games they ever made, Marathon, same name. Got a bit of a teaser trailer this week after people were participating in, one of those, guerrilla marketing campaign type situations where everyone's like solving puzzles to unlock different, like what's the information, whatnot, right? And it resulted in a teaser trailer. So we get to see the teaser trailer. It showed basically fucking nothing. except for the art style that we were already kind of aware of where they were going with it. And I know how I feel about this, and I know I've heard people at least espouse similar concerns. Like, look, I want to believe, even though the Bungie of today is not even, nobody is there from the Bungie of my youth. It's a totally different company. I get that. But they're still one of the best shooter companies around. That's not just Call of Duty over and over again. And I would totally be up for somebody else getting in and adding some competition to a very stale segment in the market. However, extraction shooters kind of had their moment in the sun, like Tarkov and whatnot, but you don't really see a lot of extraction shooters doing huge numbers anymore. You don't hear people talking a lot about extraction shooters in general. I don't hear people like, not even begging, but like not even sitting there going, man, I hope we get another extraction shooter. I could really go for one of those right now. And that's what this is. And clearly they decided to make this game when extraction shooters were first, on the upswing. And maybe they thought that it was going to have a much longer tail in terms of its success. It's not to say that they can't do it and have it do well. Obviously, it's Bungie. There's always a chance that they do well with it. But personally, like, I don't know if I give a shit about an extraction shooter right now in 2025 and whenever this ends up coming out. What do you think about this game's likely success? One, from Bungie, knowing what we know about Bungie today with Destiny 2. And two, what do you think, like, does an extraction shooter play big enough right now for Bungie to have this be an actual, like, honest-to-God success and not just something that kind of comes out? I'm not saying it's going to be like Concord and die in the fucking first, like, 4 days or some shit. But does it survive? Not even thrive, but does it survive in a market where right now Marvel Rivals is just having everyone gooning at their desk for fucking 24 hours a day and doing huge numbers still this far in? It seems people are kind of in that direction and not necessarily an extraction shooter that looks like Apex Legends. What do you think?
Wouldn't be the first type of game I'd be making, but at the same time, like, it is Bungie. They have a name. If the game's great, it'll do fine. I don't think it can be as big of a success as Marvel Rivals or any of these other, sort of big games that come out on the scene. But I think there could be a place for it if it's really good. But will it be really good? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it can work. I just don't think it's gonna.
Like, when I first heard about Tarkov, my first thought was, that sounds super dope. Like, the idea of an extraction shooter was actually kind of appealing to me.
I did not like Tarkov. I played it.
And then I played it, and I was like, at least this version. Now, in fairness, Tarkov is a very hardcore, specific, hacker-drenched extraction shooter. However, it did give me the inclination that maybe I don't personally love the idea of extraction shooters as much as I thought. Maybe if it was more like team-based extraction, I mean, a great example of that might be Helldivers 2. Like, I really enjoy my time with Helldivers 2, the team-based aspect, the chaotic nature of it, but still having a team with you in a PvE environment. There's a lot of fun there. And we'll have to see how they pull it off. But yeah, it's Bungie. I mean, Destiny 2 is... My problem is with Destiny 2, the highs with Destiny 1 and 2, the highs for those games were very high. Like, they were hitting home runs. But the lows for Destiny 1 and 2 were also, like, fucking goddamn abysmal and almost killed them, kind of a situation. Had Sony squirming. Like, did we really make the right call when we got into this bed with Bungie on this shit? So the highs were highs, the lows were lows. And so I guess we're going to have to see which version of Bungie shows up on game day for Marathon, and we'll see what we do with it. But I mean, yeah, I'm going to say my hype meter, I'm at like a solid, I might actually be at like a 5 out of fucking 10 for this. Like, if I had to choose, like, how much am I interested in even seeing what they do with this, I'm at like a 5. And we'll see what happens when we see more information from them, but for now, not much. On a hype meter around 6 or 7, Square Enix sort of teased a Final Fantasy IX remake or remaster of some kind this week. On one hand, great. On the other hand, I fucking hate what they're doing with Final Fantasy VII, and I don't want to see them do it with 9. On the third hand, because apparently I'm in a nuclear wasteland, why do they always skip Final Fantasy VIII, bro? We just, like us fans of Final Fantasy VIII are just out here.
It's one of the
getting
greats.
Fucked.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it is what it is.
You tell me we can't get triple triad in a remake? That's already right there. We could be playing cards right now. Like, I want 8 way more than 9. I mean, 9. I think. Well, I get why 9 in the sense that 9 was internal Square Enix, like their love letter to original Final Fantasy, like NES Final Fantasy. Mm-hmm. So it was like, of all the 7, 8, 9, I feel like if you could point to one where the developers themselves probably loved their own game, 9 feels like it's the one of all of those 3. Yeah. So it doesn't shock me that they're going to skip 8 and go straight to 9. But yeah, I mean, shit. 9 was a good game. I don't like, of the 3.
It's my least favorite of the 3.
It's my least it's my least favorite of those 3. Do I think 9 is better made than 7 and 8? Yes. Do I like the game more than 7 and 8? No. Like, no. I think that overall the art direction was the strongest in 9. I think that the gameplay mechanics, with few exceptions, were the best in 9. They learned a lot of lessons in 7 and 8 to get there, so that's part of, why it would be what, in that way. But just enjoying the game, it's still, for me, 8, 7, 9 is my order of
7. I'm 7, 8, 9, right in order.
Right in order?
Listen, I beat 7 and 8. I didn't beat 9.
You never beat 9? Really?
No.
Wow. I never knew that.
I didn't enjoy it enough. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it enough. I just didn't beat it. I played quite a bit of it, but just gave up on it. At the time, like, it is what it is. 7 and 8 I beat several times.
So what was 9, it? Do you remember what hung you up on 9 originally? Do you even remember what that was?
I'm not sure. I remember buying it and owning it. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know. It's just one of those games too, because I remember it was right at the time when my nan passed away, and I had the game, and I don't know if that's part of the reason why. I just timing. Don't really have. Yeah, it was just like timing. I didn't really. Yeah, I that's like one of the things I just remember the most about the game was just like the time that it was the time in which the game came, but not the game itself.
Right.
I played a fair amount of it. Like I remember playing quite a bit of it. It was when I lived right near you.
Yes. Yeah.
I played quite a bit of it. Just never got to the end of the game. Never beat it, and never really had the desire to pick it back up and play it again. So it's not that I had a bad experience with it. It's just it didn't hit the same way that 7 and 8 hit. 7 hit crazy. It was like, oh my God. And then 8 was like the follow-up. And it didn't hit as much as 7 for me, but there were parts of 8 that were hitting more than 7. It was like part of it was like, dude, crazy enough is I actually think the story is better in 8 than 7. But there was something, I think the reason why I hold 7 at such a high regard is because it changed gaming. It was like and it was my first real JRPG. I never played JRPGs before, like on that scale. So it was like it was just mind blowing. And graphically, 8 was just like, oh my God, like whoa. We went
the jump from 7 to 8 was huge
to like regular looking in PlayStation.
Except for that one scene that's always memed during the dance where it's Squall leaning against the wall and they're talking about Squall, like, with like being handsome or whatever the fuck, and then it's like the zoom in on his face, and it's like 6 pixels that look like a smashed asshole.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Oh, it's if you look up like Final Fantasy VIII meme,
but yeah,
it's him leaning against the wall right before they dance, basically, or after. I can't remember if it's before or after, and yeah, it zooms in because it's not like that scene. Because you remember in 8, sometimes depending on the scene, it was like a step up in graphics where it was like the characters were rendered a little bit more in detail. This was not like the half step. This was like what you're only supposed to see from up top. But they dropped the camera down, and you're like, oh, he looked at busted up as fuck. He was looking haggard as shit. But yeah, it was, yeah, that was the line. You're the best looking guy here. So if you look up the best looking guy here, Final Fantasy VIII meme, you'll see it. He's just fucking beat to shit. Looks horrible. A lot of people will do the comparison when they did the PC release, where they like got like the textures and stuff were better, and it wasn't like 4 polygons fighting for a hope and a dream. He just, but it's the line, you're the best looking guy here, and then it's like zooms in on him and he just looks like a complete piece of shit, like 7 pixels. Yeah. Looking absolutely all sorts of busted. Like that was what you were only supposed to see from like the the isometric view, and for that one scene they dropped down. You're like, oh god, that's a bad choice. So it was a horrible choice. But yeah, I like 8's story was my I think I liked 8's story the most. You know what's crazy about 7, 8, 9 from a story perspective though, is that because it's been so long since I've played and beaten them. And even when I do, then this is the same of pretty much any game that I've ever played. For better or worse, it's a superpower of mine, and this goes for movies and everything else. If I go any period of time, I will remember if I liked or didn't like something, and maybe I'll remember very specifically the specifics of what I liked and didn't like. But I will oftentimes be able to completely forget like most story arcs and shit or characters or whatever. Like I'll know they're there, and it won't be until I'm like in playing the game or watching the movie again that any of it starts to come back to me. And yeah,
I'm the same way.
And so with 8, I could tell you definitively, I think 8 is the best story of the 3. I think 9 is a good story, but it was a little too fairy tale kiddie for me, like Save the Princess type shit. It was a little bit too like that for me. And 7 was like if I wrote an anti-establishment story in high school. Is basically what 7 was. So 8 was like the nice in-between kind of a thing for me. I just thought it was well done. I liked the villains in 8 a lot. The villains were really good in 8. Like Adea and shit. Well, like all these characters were really, really well done. So I would love to see 8 get its love at some point, but obviously if it happens, it will be the last game. They'll start remaking like Final Fantasy 4. They'll have like a fucking full-blown 3D Final Fantasy 1 before they even do fucking Final Fantasy 8. I get it. We're the last on the fucking train here, but that's okay. But yeah, they teased a 9 remake. Maybe that's it. Maybe this is it. 5 years from now, 4 years from now, they have a remake that's similar to Final Fantasy 7, but it's for Final Fantasy 9. And maybe this is your chance to go in there and maybe see what's out. Now, if they do what they did with 7, it will be almost nothing like the original. And then they'll say, oh, this was our real intention back in like fucking 1999 or whatever the fucking game was. As if they were incapable of writing story in 1999. But it will be there. I do believe this is happening because they've teased it before. I totally think this is in the pipe. Whether or not it is Final Fantasy VII, I don't know, because we do know with some certainty that this 7 remake is costing them a fucking fortune.
Boatload. Yeah.
And they are, from what I can see, they are just not selling enough copies to likely be able to justify, like they'll get it done. Like they'll finish this. I do think we're going to see less in-between games than we might have before, with Intergrade and Yuffie's like side piece. I think that'll start to kind of like trail off. We're going to just get like, here's the fucking final chapter. Go, get out of here. But maybe we'll see. I mean, all things considered. But there you go, Final Fantasy 9. Random piece of information popped up here, and the number looks feasible to me, but it also should give you an idea of how much more they'd be making now. This is revenue, not profit, keep in mind. But reportedly, a little bit of news out here between in 2019 to 2021, Game Pass was pulling down about $2 billion in revenue a year. And so if you extrapolate that to today, and you see their base, how much money they're making per, the fact that they got rid of a lot of the ways in which you could stack up fucking 11 years worth of Game Pass Ultimate shit, close the loops on those. I think they're doing okay. And for a service like that, I think the thing to keep in mind, the goal is not necessarily to make all of your money there. It's if you break even with Game Pass, that's a success.
Great. Yeah.
You're getting people in the door with that thing, and you're making all your money through services and other things and attachments to games and hardware or otherwise. That's where you're getting your money in. So, $2 billion back then. Their numbers are way bigger now. I suspect they're making, it's gotten more expensive monthly. I expect that they're making a good ton of money on this bitch. I know that we also know that they were spending more recently than, I think, 2019 and 2021, about $1 billion. I think we talked about in the podcast, about $1 billion a year.
In licensing.
In licensing and keeping the games going and doing that stuff. So, your watermark is between 1 and 1.5, maybe 1 and 2 billion for Game Pass as a platform. And so if you just go north of that or equal it, they're probably happy with it. I don't think that they're interested in having that be the thing that makes them their money per se. That's just like their foot in the door. Sidebar for this, I didn't write it in, but Phil Spencer talking more about Xbox handheld stuff for this year sometime. So there's been some more alluding to Xbox getting into handheld type stuff in the next year or so. And, with Game Pass and whatnot, it just makes fucking sense. Does it look like a Steam Deck? Doesn't matter, whatever, like any format like that. And then just be like, here's the Xbox dashboard. Here is Game Pass. And now you have that. That's a compelling handheld. If you can get games running well on that and you got Game Pass, that's a compelling fucking handheld. I know you're big on the Switch because of Nintendo games, but is that something that might even interest you? No, I know you're not. You're out of the Xbox ecosystem. I get it. I wouldn't buy it either myself. They just don't
Xbox.
have.
I literally gave you my Xbox. Go have fun with it. Fuck Xbox.
You did. I haven't plugged it in yet. I haven't plugged it in yet. I'm waiting. Really, what that Xbox could be used for is if M decides she wants to play Split Fiction, that new co-op game or whatever. That's what we'll probably do because I have Game Pass, so I'll play Split Fiction on Game Pass. There's more reasons for me to utilize Game Pass in general, but it's just in the console environment. Obviously, it's just not something that I need personally.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future, if I just need to get away and I'm just using a handheld like you with a Switch or something. But again, even then, it would almost more likely be the Switch or a Nintendo product because of the types of games are more conducive to that environment for me. I know some people love the idea of playing like Red Dead Redemption 2.
I don't.
Like on a handheld, but that's never been appealing to me personally. I know there are people that are like that, but I've just never been in that neck of the woods. It's just not been my thing. And on that note, Mr. Black, what is our thing is selling out for the fine folks at home. Why don't you tell them how they can support us?
Patreon.com/lagtv. Head on over there. Throw some money at the screen. Support us. Or you can check out NordVPN. Stay safe. Stay anonymous on the internet. Watch different regions of Netflix and other streaming services at the click of a button. So, for example, if you're from the U.S. and you've watched all the licensing stuff on there and you want to mask your IP to Canada, now you're going to unlock different content, and it will be like as though you are traveled into Canada.
Gonna unlock Corner Gas.
Corner Gas, a Trailer Park Boys. I wonder if that's in the States as well. I don't know.
Somebody must own that in the States at this point or some shit, right? Like that has to have been a thing.
I mean,
that sounds like an HBO. Yeah. That sounds like an HBO pickup, like Trailer Park Boys. It almost sounds like
I don't think it's on HBO. No, it is on Netflix, on Canadian Netflix.
True. There you go. Yeah, so Trailer Park Boys, Corner Gas.
There's other stuff. There's stuff.
Things.
But yeah,
there's ads
you know,
out
at
there.
the click. So that's one option that you can do with your NordVPN. The other is you can stay safe and have anonymity on the internet. So if you're traveling, whether you're out of country, you're at your local Starbucks, you're at your friend's house, whatever, you can mask your IP, so you can stay safe and anonymous when you're surfing the internet. Makes it so that your ISP provider, you know, they don't need to know everything that you're doing. Forget them, you know, and it's super easy to use. You can use it on your iPhone, your Android, your Mac, your PC, your laptop. You can have up to 10 simultaneous devices on one account. So you only need one account per household. It's a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't like the service for any reason at all, get your money back in full within that 30-day period. And you support us, you support the sponsor and yourself all at once. So go check them out. They have a ton of other products as well. You can have their desktop app running and have threat protection running in the background, which will just make it so that when you're surfing the internet, you don't even need to be on a server. It'll make it so that you're not getting crazy amounts of malicious pop-ups. Sites ain't tracking your cookies. You just have more anonymity on the internet, and you're more protected. So go check them out. It's less than half a cup of coffee a month at Starbucks. I mean, I think before it was
it's
like
getting
1 in 3
lower
households.
as time goes on. That's getting even less.
It's
Like,
getting even less and less.
So
So
it's 1/4 of 1 cup of a Starbucks coffee here pretty soon.
there you go. There you go. Especially when them tariffs be hitting, right? You can't be tariffing NordVPN. So, hey, they can tariff the hell out of Starbucks. Get them coffee beans. So, you know, we might be down to a 1/4 cup of coffee a month. So go and check them out, guys. They've been a big supporter of us. 1 in 3 households have a VPN. You should too. I use mine all the time. All the time. You know, if you're doing big downloads, stuff like that, you know, you mask your IP. Stay safe out there, guys. And have anonymity with NordVPN.
And now it's time for
Movies and TV.
sad news this week, Mr. Black. We lost a real one. We lost a legend. Val Kilmer, the age of 65, passed away this week. I mean, he was fighting all sorts of stuff to begin with. But I think it was pneumonia or double pneumonia or something along those lines. So, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that unfortunately was the culprit at the end there. But yeah, I mean, he's been well known to be fighting all sorts of terrible illness for quite some time. We got him in. I got to give my props to Tom Cruise for getting him in the last Top Gun and giving him his flowers. And then in a recent thing for the last Mission Impossible movie, Tom had everyone do a couple moments of silence for Val Kilmer as well after discovering that he had passed. So, you know, Tom is a crazy son of a bitch, and Scientology be fucking crazy, but I can't hate him for stuff like that. He shows people their dues and gives them their dues when they deserve it. Val Kilmer, definitely one of them. I know, Val Kilmer was one of those guys that for me, because of the age group that I'm in, I associate him only with a couple of specific movies, but the reality is, like, his heyday was, just before I was, like, old enough to really be able to watch the movies that he was in at the time. But they weren't movies that I would have been watching at that age. And so the ones that I have seen as I've gotten older and I've gone back and I've, watched it, that dude was a fucking actor, bro. Like, Val Kilmer was a fucking good ass actor. And so it's sad to see him go at such a young age, and especially the way that it was. But yeah, rip Val Kilmer. Also, killer fucking name. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Val Kilmer might be one of the most badass fucking sounding names I've ever heard in my life. How many more names go harder than Val Kilmer? Like, Jean-Claude Van Damme. We talked about this on. Actually, we hauled him out in Starcraft. That's a killer name too.
Yeah.
Like, Jean-Claude Van Damme is pretty fucking... It's not even his real name. That's his, like, the screen name. But, nevertheless, he picked a fucking killer screen name. Val Kilmer? Jean-Claude Van Damme? Shit, dude, who competes with those names? Who's out here competing with those names? I don't think, it's not Dwayne Johnson. Tell you that much. John Wick 5. Listen, we all knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming. All right, listen. If you thought for even a moment that just because, spoiler alert, if you somehow haven't seen John Wick 4 and you care, if you all thought that John was riding off into the sunset in 4 and wasn't going to come back after it's a movie that costs like, what, 100 mil to make and then pulls down $1 billion? You out your goddamn mind. These movies do not cost a lot and they make so much money. And so you knew 5 was coming. Now, this was, I believe, this was at one of the cons here in the last couple days that this was announced. Was it CinemaCon or something along those lines, perhaps? I think this was out of the horse's mouth. I think this was a Keanu Reeves drop. And I believe the implication here is that John and some other characters are returning for 5. So now the question is it a prequel or is it a sequel?
Oh, it's going to be a sequel. It's going to be a sequel.
You want to hear my?
It's called John Wick 5. It's not called John Wick. The beginning or John.
That's very
Wick,
true.
It's
very true. Here's my theory, and this has been my theory, by the way, since I saw it leaving the theaters the first time. At the end of 4, they're standing in the graveyard, sending off their dues to Mr. Wick, and they have John's dog with them. There is a part of that scene as they're speaking where it cuts to the dog. Like only the fucking dog. Front and center. And this dog looks off away from everyone else in the scene as if it sees somebody and it's grabbed their attention off in the distance. And then it cuts off the dog. My theory is that John was at his own funeral. John Wick, the person in there, is dead by name for a reason, but he's not actually dead, is my theory. And that's how we go into 5. That's my theory.
It's a good theory. It's a good theory. My theory is I don't want any more John Wick movies. Because they are progressively getting worse. I'm just objectively saying it. Okay,
4 was pretty fucking good. 4 was better than 3. No, wait. It was 3. Was 3 the one with what's her face and the dog and like the dog attack dog, or was that 2?
What, Halle Berry?
Yeah, was that 2 or 3?
Halle Berry was 3.
Yeah, 3 was, in my opinion. If that's the case, in my opinion, 3 is easily the worst of all of them. They brought it back in 4 for sure.
I mean, listen, I thought the choreography and the fighting and stuff was better in 4 than 3. But I mean, I thought the ending of 4 was kind of whack. It was just like kind of, I don't know, man. I was totally fine. I mean, I left the theater. I enjoyed the movie. It's like I left the theater like, okay, he's dead. Let's just. We've done 4 of these now. But Hollywood, they got to make money. And it's easy. Like you said, they're cheap to make.
Yep.
And Keanu will probably make it. It'll probably be John Wick 5 Part 1. They're going to fucking ride this shit down. They had all these spin-offs and all this other shit. Apparently, there ain't no John Wick without John Wick. So here we go. It would have been, what I would have preferred to have seen is John Wick die and a new John Wick. There's a whole new John Wick, You want to somehow do a James Bond but John Wick. Yeah. Why not? The movie's already ridiculous. Give us a different actor. Somebody that's, or give us the fucking blind dude.
Well, I think he is Donnie Yen. I think they do have something planned for that character.
Yes, but I mean, make him the next John Wick, or get somebody, Ong Bak guy to come in here and start fucking smashing heads.
Because Donnie, both Keanu and Donnie are getting up there. So, how many movies do either of them able to commit before you start doing Liam Neeson jump cuts? You know, and like the John Wick movies, their whole shtick is there are no jump cuts. You're watching a wide angle shot of people just doing, 5 to 10 minutes of choreographed fighting. So yeah, I mean, I kind of agree.
I'm gonna go watch it. All right, let's just be real. I'm gonna go watch it. You know what I mean? There were some fire-ass fucking scenes in the last movie.
I am part of the problem. Fire. I appreciate that. I am part of the problem. Yeah, it's on me. Too. But god damn it, has anyone else done it better than John Wick since John Wick hit the scene? In my opinion, no. And so until they take themselves out the game, right? They throw one out and it's like the Matrix 3 and you're like...
Closest thing for me was Extractor, man. I enjoyed I enjoyed
We
Extractor.
talked about that before, where Extractor was like, they took a lot of pages from John Wick without committing fully to that, but they got enough of it that like you could appreciate that it separated it from other like standard action films.
Yeah.
And so I agree. I think it's probably the closest, but I'm not going to see Extraction in the theater. I'm going to watch it on Netflix at home. But you know what I am going to see in theater? I'm going to go see
5.
Fucking 60-year-old Keanu Reeves walking through a nightclub in Germany in IMAX. It's dark. There are neon lights. He walks inexplicably through water. For some reason, it's damp in this fucking club. And he's got the jet black hair is just dangling, and he's fucking using a 9mm as a melee weapon to stab dudes in the throat while killing with pencils. That's what I'm watching.
The thing is, the funny thing is John Wick, the way he moves like an injured character in Resident Evil. You know what I mean?
I like that because it looks like he's just
it's like you know, like when you're in Resident Evil and you're like down to yellow. And you're just like you just he
needs that herb
like everywhere. Yeah,
he needs that green herb. He needs the green red mix. Yeah. He needs to get back in the game.
I mean, I'm here for it. Sure, why not? Give me John.
What I don't want is for them to lean too hard into cameo shit of like, here's another action person that you know about. I was okay with Donnie. Bro. I know it's gonna happen, but I just don't want it.
They're going full Fast and the Furious with this shit, bro. I mean, they're gonna have somebody else come in.
Don't bring in John Cena. Don't bring in Dave Bautista. You know what? Stop. No. Of the 3, I will allow Dave Bautista, but do not bring in Dwayne.
Guy. I need him as a bad guy.
Yes. No Dwayne. No fucking
no
John
Jason
Cena.
Momoa.
No Jason Momoa. Get all that shit out of there. I will allow, because he actually takes his acting seriously enough for me to like give him the pass. Yeah. And I think he does a villain well. I think he could pull off a John Wick villain. I think he could do that. And he moves well. Like, of the 3, he moves well. He does the MMA, so he's already kind of got the skill set that would allow him. He doesn't weigh 300 pounds anymore. He's a svelte 240. Yeah. And so, he could.
I don't even think Dave Bautista would do it. I think Dave Bautista is he's highbrow now. I think he's just, I don't think he goes there.
You don't think Dave Bautista would pass up on a John Wick? I bet you Dave Bautista and Keanu Reeves.
I think if they give him a beefy role, I think if they gave him like something like a real character that he can like, do something with, it wouldn't be Dave Bautista playing Dave Bautista. He'd have to, he'd almost have to transform himself like Colin Farrell did with the Penguin. I feel like he would do something like that. But I don't think like just Dave Bautista with like just coming in, just Dave Bautista. I don't think so. I think he would need to have some prosthetic. He'd have to like get into this. There'd have to be some meat on the bone for him.
Yeah, for sure. But hey, listen, again, I know I'm part of the problem. I'm going to be in that theater in IMAX.
Me too.
Watching John
Wick 5.
I'll be there with you. We will probably be watching this movie together. It's just the reality of the situation. It's like the Matrix 3. We when we were kids, like Matrix 2 was starting to get off the rails, but we did not stop us from going to the Matrix 3. And I got to keep it a buck. People shit on the Matrix 3.
I don't give a fuck. I enjoyed it.
But in IMAX, that shit went hard. And coincidentally, it went hard with Keanu Reeves in the rain fighting dudes. There's something about Keanu Reeves in the rain fighting dudes to epic music.
The fire breath gun or whatever the fuck it was.
Well, that in John Wick, bro.
It's like, my God, bro. I'm like, bro.
How do you top that shit, bro? You gave me a fucking Hotline Miami top-down fucking nonstop
fucking
fire breath shotgun.
All one cut.
Meme.
I'm here for it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Give me that. We started with we don't want it, but the reality is
Now
I think we
want
kind
it.
of low key
We
want
talked
it.
ourselves into it. Give me it.
Kind of low
Fucking
key.
hell. Fuck.
This is our fault. We're the ones to blame for this shit. Last thing, prediction. How many John Wick movies do we get before they finally call it quits? And you can't just say until it stops making money. How many do you think we actually get out of this?
I think we get 2 more. I think we get 2 more with Keanu.
I agree. I think we get. I think we also can squeeze 2 more into this, unless they do a thing where they do like 1 and then a small break and then they do a back to back, like they do a Harry Potter Part 1, Part 2. Then I think there's a 3-piece. But they have to do a back to back. Keanu's just getting too old. He's just getting too fucking old.
Because it's like 2 trilogies, 6 movies. I think we get 2.
That's fair.
And then that's the show.
That is true.
Can't end on a 7. What the fuck?
That's true. That's fucked up. That's true. You can't end on a 7. That's haggard. That's true. That's the last thing I've got. Do you got anything that you and Kayla have been watching? Nothing. No trashy shit. No crazy.
Been watching.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Excuse me. Em and I started watching Love on the Spectrum on Netflix. That's a fire show, bro. That's up there. That's up there with like Queer Eye for me, for like watch this to feel good. Love that shit. It was dope. If you've not seen it pop up on your Netflix yet, it's basically I think this existed in some form before, but it follows a number of people of quite a broad range of ages, anywhere from early 20s into their mid 30s and whatnot, who are on the autistic spectrum, usually quite far down the spectrum at this point. Either they're still living at home or they're like high functioning enough that they live on their own, but it's still with a lot of guidance and whatnot and community support. And it's their journey on like finding, love, going out and dating. Usually it's other people who are also on the spectrum and they're finding each other and they're navigating how they interpret, social interaction in this whole thing. And you get to watch this happen. And they're all so sweet and fucking lovable, and they're so like polite, and you can see, even though when they get like upset, because if you've ever worked or known people, and I know you do, with autism, they obviously have the ability to fly off the handle, but they're also like these like really they just love people, and so it's a fun. It's a fun show to watch. It's a feel good show, bro. It's a unless they get rejected, because one of the guys. One of the guys. Well, no, it's not that. He took it on the chin. The guy's champion, but he was doing speed dating, and he wasn't getting any hits on the speed dating. But it was so funny, bro, because he knows like he didn't want kids necessarily, or he wasn't sure if he might have wanted kids, but he didn't want them to already have kids, and then he didn't want them to have any pets at all, and that was like his no-fly zone. And as soon as they'd say something, he couldn't hide himself. You'd physically seem like. They say they have like a dog, and they'd be like, oh. And then when the speed dating was over and they left, you have like the little scorecard or whatever. It would be so funny if he's trying to be like, he didn't want to hurt their feelings, so they'd be leaving, walking behind him, and it'd be like him at school, like on a test, where he had the pen and he'd take the paper and he'd be like, looking back, making sure that they weren't seeing like that he was circling, like that he wasn't interested or some shit. So anyway, it's a feel good, it's a fun show to watch. And then, we haven't gotten back to watch another episode of Severance. I do want to like see if I can give Em more time to try to see if she'll get into it, but we talked about this before. I don't know. Like, I think it's just going to be one of those things where like you need a little bit more cultural reference to really be able to like appreciate and enjoy Severance. And otherwise that's pretty much it. You're stuck in a wasteland though, bro. You guys don't got no trash for a hot minute. Do you know what's next on the docket? You're just in a dry spell? Got nothing?
It's a dry spell, but I mean, summer's coming, so, they usually start piling in. So,
what's like the one that hasn't had a new season in a hot minute? Like Too Hot to Handle? Like, are they due?
Yeah, it is coming. I think that Too Hot to Handle, I think it's coming in May, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think it's coming
so that's probably the next one, is Too Hot to Handle, and then the cycle begins anew. And we start... Start all over again. I wonder who the next, if they're going to try to do another new one, because the only one that's like relatively, that we talked about that died, and rightfully so, What was it? It was the one with all the mums, and they ended up being like dating
MILF
each other's
Manor.
sons. MILF man, that shit. Just saying that out loud.
Crazy. It's crazy.
You can't, bro. You can't do that shit. Fucking people are wild out here. Fucking MILF Manor. Come on, but this shit's crazy. And on that note, let's get on over to tech support and answer some questions, which means it's now time for.
I'm watching DILF Manor all day, though. They come out with DILF
Oh my
Manor.
god, dude.
Oh, bro. Oh, man. Daddies are going to be fighting. I'm here
This
for
is the
it.
time. This is the time. Trump is the president.
Now
If
is
there
the
was
time.
ever a time.
I mean, bro, just imagine
All bets
watching your
are
daughter
off.
get nestled up with some fucking,
Like
older
55-year-old dude.
55, 60-year-old rich dude, or fucking 45, 50-year-old broke guy, and the father's right there, and the daughter's, I mean, my God.
You know what's
I'm
fucked
just there
up,
to see
though?
the fights.
You know what's fucked up though? They won't have any problem finding those people because if the men do have money, this is like the in basketball. This happens more than any other sport. But there are families with daughters who literally groom them into going in to try to become the girlfriends of up and coming basketball stars before they leave university or college to
They're
get
called
into
wags.
the money. Yeah.
Yeah, they're called wags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I don't doubt in my mind that if they put a casting call out and they found out that some of these guys had money, that there'd be those families that are like, all right, time to go, suit up.
A whole bunch of Leonardo DiCaprios. Be something.
So all the women are under 27 on the show, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much. No,
Yeah.
25. I think his age is 25.
Is this cut off
I think
25?
right now he's
Oh.
dating a 19-year-old. Yeah. Smashing 19.
Damn, he is reaching low, bro. That shit is.
That'd feel weird.
That's right at the point where you're thinking, yeah, technically an adult, but they don't even know who they are as a person yet. Leonardo DiCaprio.
I mean, it might be a smoke show, but like, that's a
yikesy, bro. Dude, I couldn't do
yikes.
that. And I'm 20 years younger than Leonardo DiCaprio, and I couldn't see myself doing that shit. When I unfortunately robbed you of what did we call it? Tinder. The Tinder files.
Tinder
when I
files?
Unfortunately robbed you of Tinder files early, you were so
Damn.
ready. I know that was your whole life. You were ready to live
Why did
vicariously.
you find
I
your
robbed
wife?
you.
Damn it.
I know, so quick.
Damn.
It's too quick. But at the time, I remember one of the first girls I went on a date with was what was she? She was 24 or 23. And at that time, I would have been 20, what was I? Jesus Christ, when did this happen? This was in 2019, yeah? So I was 29, 30 in that pocket. And the first one was 20,
okay, though.
20. No, it was okay, but what I'm saying is, even that gap was, they were
felt
clearly
weird?
in
Yeah.
conversation. It was hard. And I mean, I'm terminally online. It wasn't like I couldn't speak the lingo, but I could feel the fucking age gap there at that time. I can't even fucking fathom. Even just as a side piece.
But he's just going to smash. That's all that is. He ain't looking for no fucking soulmate. He's just busting him some
I
nuts.
could not fucking.
It's weird, bro.
Like,
I know. Yeah,
damn,
I know.
bro.
Yeah,
Shit.
I know.
It's fucked up. Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, it's time for
Tech
sidetrack.
support.
Patreon.com/slagtv. Place to go. If you want to financially support this podcast, or you're just looking for another avenue outside of the other means, whether that's super chats on YouTube. Some more people have been making use of those as of late, or otherwise Twitch subscriptions. You're just looking for different ways, and then you can feel free to head on over there for also things like our Starcraft content, for example. $5 or more each and every month gets you a couple of perks, but chiefly you can ask us questions here on the podcast. I put up a post on the Patreon page called Tech Support for whatever week we're in. This was 351. We celebrated 350 last week. We forgot to even mention it. 350 episodes on this bad boy.
Damn.
Crazy work. And you get to ask us questions. We give you the answers in the time that we have. And so let's chickadee check it out. What do we got this week? Okay. Oh, we're going down that rabbit hole immediately, are we? Hold on. I'm going to reload Patreon just in case it was holding back on us. I'm going to save that one. It's a fuck, marry, kill from Jubinator. Valve, Microsoft, including Activision Blizzard, and Nintendo. Wow, we're just leaving Sony out. Sony has avoided this entire situation. It is Valve, which is more or less just saying, I guess, Steam. So, like, PC gaming platform Steam, Microsoft, Nintendo. I think this is the easiest thing Jeff's ever had to come up with fuck, marry, kill.
I mean, I can't really kill Microsoft because Starcraft goes.
True. Factual.
Right? Like,
true.
In a roundabout way.
But are you killing are you killing Nintendo?
No.
So that means we're saying night to Steam?
I'm killing Steam. I have to kill Steam, man. I'm fucking Microsoft and I'm marrying Nintendo. Nintendo is the most consistent. You know what you're getting. You know, it's just the most pleasant. Like, yeah, Nintendo can get fucking pretty litigious, but like, you know, that's if you attack it, you know what I mean? Or you're doing stuff you shouldn't. I feel like Nintendo would be a good marriage. It's long lasting. It's got great IPs. You know, stable. I can't kill Microsoft. I mean, dude, it's Microsoft. You can't just kill Microsoft. I can fuck Microsoft though. I can go deep inside Microsoft and enjoy that. But Valve's gonna die. It's gotta go.
I'm saying the same thing. I'm marrying Nintendo. I'm fucking Microsoft, and I gotta get rid of Valve. I'm sorry. It's just gonna be the way it's gonna be. I mean, listen. Microsoft is a hate fuck. All right.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Like,
you put a bag over its head and just.
I'm not even looking. Yeah, pretty much.
You know, fucking bite the pillow. Ah! And that's pretty much that, right? That's just it.
The whole time I'm in the bedroom. Developers. Just sweating like Steve Ballmer.
But Valve's gonna go. Unfortunately.
Valve does have, yeah. Unfortunately, it's just gonna have to be the way that it goes. Blue Gree asks, do you watch Artosis' stream ever? What are your thoughts? Have you seen Day 9 discuss Artosis' stream? Well, this is oddly specific. What do you think about Mario and Luigi and then Day 9 Artosis on stream? Okay, hold on. I gotta at least.
Artosis. I've known Artosis for 20 years. We played Starcraft 1 together. We were in like middle school, all the way through high school and college, and afterwards we, played against each other at tournaments. We both went to Starcraft commentary. I love Artosis. Our channel on Twitch is wonderful. Everyone is sweet and thoughtful. Yes, occasionally
I know where he's going
comes
with this.
in and tries to troll a little bit, but then our mods are like, hey, please stop. And they go, oh, everything is great here. Artosis' channel on Twitch is... You know, in the Galapagos Islands, where like there's a completely different set of like predators and prey, so like creatures just evolve in like really weird ways because there's not certain kinds of evolutionary pressures. Like Artosis' chat is just this continuous downward spiral where no one gets banned for anything. So it's just this continuous intellectual inbreeding whose apparent terminus is Mario and Luigi erotica. And Artosis has text-to-speech on, such that any of these absolutely degenerate, multi-chromosomal monstrosities roaming the chat, like all of them.
He's going in.
We'll post the most appalling shit ever, and then Artosis' text-to-speech will just say it out loud. Dan, aka Artosis, also gets really, really, really mad when he plays. So he's raging and he's screaming, and you're just
sounds like me.
Hey, Artosis, do you remember that time when Mario fucked Luigi? And it just keeps going, but it's like continuous for like 4 hours.
Okay. I love Sean. His description was fucking magnificent. That is one of the most accurate fucking descriptions of a stream I think I've ever heard in my life. Yes, I have personally watched Artosis' stream many times. Yes, it is exactly how Sean is describing it. It is without a shadow of the doubt the angriest and most degenerate fuck show I've ever seen in all of my life, to the point where I'm not even sure how many of the people there are actually StarCraft fans, or they're just fans of the degenerate hellhole that has been developed there over time. It's such an odd fucking experience.
Hey man, he's getting paid. Leave him, I mean, it's his thing.
I know, I ain't got nothing against it. It's his thing. I'm afraid he's gonna die of a heart attack. But like, other than that, I mean, if he wants to listen to stories of people regale him in text-to-speech with stories of Mario sucking Luigi off, I mean, by all means.
Hey man, I did Boshi, bro. I listened to all the craziest shit for a long time. It made a lot of money. You know, I built an empire off the backs of that shit. You know, it is what it is.
Do you think that when Mario's fucking Luigi, he's also saying developers the whole time?
He might be. I'm here for it.
Listen, Artosis is a goddamn legend. Tasteless and Artosis both are legends. Sean's a fucking legend. But it is true. I mean, it is a very special, unique niche working for him. But by God, if he ever had a blood pressure monitor on stream, everyone would be terrified. I am convinced that man is riding at like a 180 over fucking 99 at all times on that stream. Bless him, and hopefully he continues to do well by it. Have you ever watched Artosis' streams?
I've seen
very
clips,
much?
but I don't know too much about the Mario Luigi fucking. But he does look angry a lot. Like, he does not look like he's
angry
himself.
Yeah.
Like, he just looks like, you know, he's over it. Like he's been in the industry too long, and he's just there because he has to be, and he's like, fuck everybody all the time. Yeah, I'm getting close.
Listen, as somebody who has been, who has hammed it up a bit, right?
Yeah.
You get angry, maybe like you're actually a bit upset at the game, but you fucking dial the shit up.
You turn
right
it
for the entertainment, right?
Yeah.
That's not Artosis.
No, he's actually mad.
He's actually that angry at any given moment.
Yeah.
The man is going through it right now. Let's see. Jedi asks, is there any analog device or technology that you still prefer to use or over their digital counterparts? So paper notebook, old school alarm clock, etc. Is there anything still remaining that you prefer to use when the time comes? I'll be honest, when I take notes, I'm taking notes with a pen and paper or pencil paper. I hate writing notes like on a notepad on the computer or some shit. I fucking hate it. There is something about writing it physically with my hand that I remember stuff better when I'm writing it than if I'm just typing it out. Even though functionally it's a similar process, there's something about actually writing that my brain locks that shit in, and I just prefer to like look at notes in person versus like having another another screen on with a fucking, you know, Microsoft Word pad or some shit. There's something about it. So that's, for me, that's 100% my number one preferred still analog situation is note taking.
Dude, I can't really think. I can't think of anything that I do that's like
still analog or old school.
Still analog. Yeah. I'll think about it when we go to the next question, but I can't really think of it.
Roran asks, it's another, the Mary Fuck Kill's popular. Fast food edition.
Okay.
I don't even think Jeff and I have possibly had at least one of these, but we'll see. Mary Fuck Kill, Taco Bell, McDonald's, Popeyes. Oh,
I've had all of them.
Okay.
We have Popeyes. I just had Popeyes like 2 months ago.
Oh, okay. Great. This is topical times then. So,
I'm killing Taco Bell. Dead.
Yeah. Agreed.
I'm fucking McDonald's and I'm marrying Popeyes.
I think that's probably my answer as well.
Because like McDonald's, you can't marry McDonald's. You can't live off McDonald's. But you've had a long day. Sometimes you just get a craving for a Big Mac or a quarter pounder. Or maybe there's like, they have like the fucking orange creamsicle milkshake that would absolutely destroy my life now. Sometimes, or maybe you just want to go grab a large fry. You just want them salty ass fries. That's a good fuck.
You want something quick.
Right?
Yeah.
Taco Bell, I'm going to be honest. I think Taco Bell is shit. Never been a fan of Taco Bell. Rarely ever have Taco Bell. I don't think it's particularly good. It's not even cheap anymore. Like back in the day when it was like cheap, you can get, soft shell tacos for $1. It was like, okay, when I was like a teenager, I'd go to the mall and get me some like 4 or 5 soft shell tacos or one of those Supreme Crunch wraps. That's about it. Popeyes, I mean, bro, you can get good chicken. You can actually get chicken breasts. So it's like, it's good fried chicken. You can get chicken strips. I like their fries. I could marry out of the 3. I don't really want to marry any of them. Like I'm divorcing.
True.
I'm divorcing Popeyes at some point.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose, I had to marry one of these 3. I gotta marry Popeyes. I couldn't do McDonald's, and I really just not a fan of Taco Bell.
Yeah, Taco Bell. I've had people try to tell me that Taco Bell is similar to like a Subway situation in terms of like the quality is very store dependent. Like depending on where you go, the quality can range quite a bit. I just don't buy it. I've been to a few. They're all shit.
Good.
It's all bad. It's bad. It's like Burger King. People try to tell me Burger King's like this top tier joint. I haven't walked into a single.
I hate Burger King.
Solid Burger King. Tell me if this is your experience. And this is regardless if I was in the States or if I was here in Canada. It doesn't matter. There isn't a Burger King that isn't fucking filthy. Every Burger King I've ever walked into is gross.
Disgusting.
Front and back. Gross. The burgers are never good. I don't know what the fascination is with the Whopper. I don't think it's a particularly good burger. Their fries are terrible.
Yep.
Nothing in there is good. That being said, that's not on this list, but in the same vein, Taco Bell gotta go. Fuck Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Definitely a fucking McDonald's. Same thing. It's a late night. It's a random craving. It's a fry. It's a chicken nugget. It's a McFlurry situation. I don't need that daily, but once in a blue moon, I need a side piece.
Sure.
And that side piece is a 6-piece chicken nuggets, late night. Like that's kind of how it goes.
And actually, the thing is with McDonald's, it can hit.
If
Taco Bell never hits.
Sparingly, if you overdo any of these, it's bad, which is why marrying any of them is bad. But no matter when you go to Taco Bell, it's dog shit. McDonald's, if you go too frequently, you can fall out of, you just don't want it for a long time. But if you just keep it like that once in a while, there's something about it that keeps going. But yeah, Popeyes. I mean, I don't think I've ever been to Popeyes in my life. I don't need to be to know that over the 3 of them, I'm going to go to Popeyes. Like, I'd rather just eat.
It's much better quality. It's much better quality. It's just better food. It's just better food.
Here we go. Just follow up for you, and this is not racist, I swear. Marry, fuck, kill. Popeyes. KFC. Mary Brown's.
Ooh. I'm marrying. Oof. Okay, I'm killing KFC. KFC's dead.
Okay.
Gone. This
All right,
is
fair.
easy. Death.
Fair.
Fair. I'm gonna marry Mary Brown's.
That would be my choice too.
I'm fucking Popeyes. Yeah.
Mary Brown's makes some fucking good ass food in general.
Yeah. And you know what, man? Popeyes really isn't bad, but Mary Brown's, I gotta go with Mary Brown's. I just have to. And I eat Mary Brown's a lot more than I do Popeyes.
I haven't had Popeyes, so like comparing like if you get a bucket, right? You've got like your thighs, your drums and everything. What I like about Mary Brown's, Mary Brown's shit is fucking crazy good.
Way better.
Crunchy, delicious.
Yeah.
But the amount of chicken on every piece in the bucket.
It's nice. Yes.
Like if I'm eating KFC, I can eat like 6 pieces of fucking KFC. I get 2 pieces deep into Mary Brown's and I'm like, I'm tapping out. What is it like between Mary Brown's and Popeyes for chicken substantiation? Like, who's got the? Is it close?
I mean, I've only ever had at Popeyes. I've only ever had chicken strips and their chicken sandwiches.
Okay.
So I never had their actual like.
You never did like the buckety type deal?
like a piece of quarter chicken white meat or like the drumsticks and. I never actually had that, so I couldn't tell you. But their chicken, there's a lot more crisp to it. They add a lot more like batter and stuff. Like it's very crispy. Which I like.
I fucks with that.
It's
I
crispy.
really do.
It's like you bite into it. And it's like, you know what I mean?
It's like if you're not careful, you're doing some damage to the roof of the mouth type situation.
Yes,
like
exactly.
that.
Cut your shit up. Yeah,
okay,
it's
all right,
delicious.
Yeah, I fucks with that. That's okay.
Pretty good.
I do miss 1990s KFC before they went to dog shit.
Oh yeah. I mean, KFC is
like
garbage
that.
now.
That was like legit because the chicken again back in the 90s, substantial chicken.
Yeah.
The skin was crispier. They seemed to use more fucking spice back then. Like it was much more flavorful at the time.
Now it's bland. It's just
bland
as fuck. Empty carbs, like just empty air. It's just like
back then it would occasionally be a dry piece, but now it's like every piece in the bucket is dry.
It's like the chicken's tired, bro.
It's
right. The fucking, I mean, it's just
it's
not,
tired. It's had some late nights. It's had some late nights.
It's just run down. It's like watching it's like meeting up and you're at the high school reunion and it's the 15 or 20-year reunion and that hot chick from school that everybody wanted just looks like she has miles on her. Just miles. Like she's just been through the whole football team and seen some shit. Got 7 kids. And it's just like, I'm sure she's nice. You know, I remember the fond memories, but man, it just looks dry. It's just ain't it.
I was going to go with like
the jock at school that like got all the chicks.
No,
and
he's
like,
just deflated. Deflated. He's a beer gut.
He's just got a huge beer gut. Motherfucker, it's like, he still thinks he got a rap career. He's like pushing 40 and he's still, rapping in his basement. It's like, bro, you ain't going to make it, man. You know what I'm saying? It's over.
It's true. You know what? In a chicken coop, all right, free range chicken coop, which is asking a lot because we all know none of this chicken's free range. But let's just say free range chicken coop. The chicken that goes to Mary Brown's when the fox enters the chicken coop, that chicken is sprinting like Usain Bolt. It's got all the energy. It's strong enough. It thinks about fighting the fox. It's got that kind of strength, but it gets out. The Popeyes, right behind, but not the last in line. It's moving. It's definitely not fighting the fox, but it's getting out of line. The KFC chicken?
Oh, dead.
It's dead.
Oh,
it's
dead.
The first
Super
dead. It doesn't even attempt to run for its life. It accepts its
lays
fate
down.
And lays down and dies.
Take me out. That's KFC, man. KFC is hurting. That shit's hurting. Even the boxes look worn out and just like there's no shape to them anymore. It's like you get them and it's like
they're little damp.
It's
so
like
they get
indented
soggy.
in and shit. So it's like the box is just it's everything about it is garbage. Even the fucking cups, it's just
the
everything
potato
about
wedges taste like the cardboard they come in.
Seriously,
like you get a taste of the cardboard.
It's so bad, bro. Who eats KFC?
I will never forget how angry you were when you were living in Dartmouth and you'd go into the KFC before we started going to the deli, and it'd be a Toonie Tuesday, and it was no longer a Toonie, and you were just fucking
salty, bro.
Salty.
It died right there. Death.
The death of KFC. Toonie Tuesday. Let's see. This is super random. Josh asks, Trump comes to you and says, hey, I can give you a guaranteed 100K or flip this coin, and if you win, I'll give you 100 million. If you lose, you get nothing. Dude, I'm flipping for 100. Are you serious?
Fucking flipping the coin all day.
100K is great, but 100K right now buys you 6 fucking eggs and a handshake. All right?
Yeah.
I want
do it
100
for $1 million.
Yes.
Do it for $1 million. I'll
still
flip the
flipping.
fucking thing for $1 million. Damn right.
Yeah.
That's a 10x. I mean, 50-50 chance for a 10x. It's
Easy
like,
choice.
what am I going to lose? $100,000 I never had to begin with.
Or
I mean,
50
sure, I'll
50
flip
at
it.
100 mil?
50-50 at $100 million bucks, bruh. I would do it for a 20% chance, 10% chance. 100 million? Give me a 10% chance. I'm flipping this bitch. You have to.
You have to. The
I mean,
numbers
unless
don't
like you're
lie.
super down, unless like, you know, you're literally like, you
Yeah,
know,
on the,
like
you're
I get
on the
it.
verge, yeah.
Yes, like I get it. But like 100 million? Damn. I'm taking that flip.
The Blainer asks, with the explosion, although it's more like a wet fart right now in terms of continued development of AI in the industry, are you using any of them like ChatGPT
Nope.
or Copilot or anything?
Nope, never.
The only times I use it are, one, when I'm using it for fun just to see what their capabilities are whenever they update, like asking them various questions I think might be a way to see like where they're at in terms of their reasoning and whatnot. I also will sometimes use them to see how they compare as a method of searching for something that's like specific, where I would rather them parse a bunch of website information instead of me searching on Google and then manually parsing through. They can be useful with that. And then when I do like my scripting work and whatnot, because I'm not a programmer, I just like to see how they come along in terms of, to somebody like me with little to no programming knowledge, how much can I get done with one of these is like a point of interest. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, I don't really have it integrated into my life in any meaningful way. This is an interesting question because I know I haven't been, and I don't know. Uh-oh, we lost Mr. Black. We lost Discord in general. We were on the last question of the day. My internet's not down. We're still live. Give me a moment. I'm just going to put the starting screen up here for a second. No, I think Discord is dead. I'm just going to double check. Yeah, I know, it's super dead. Well, unfortunate timing. I'll just give a quick answer to this, and then we'll just have to wrap it up for this week. We will put up Mr. Black's image. Do I even have that? I used to. No? Okay, you get to look at my desktop. Question comes in from David, says, do you guys know anyone that has ever been polled for an election? I haven't been, and I don't know if I know anyone who's been either. And I think part of that is probably because largely of where we live. It is obviously far more likely to get polled for an election in places where the votes are much more impactful. For example, you know, most polls are done with a sample size of, you know, a few hundred to a few thousand. And so, because you need a certain, you know, statistically, you just need a certain number of a reasonable sample of various people to try to avoid as much polling bias as possible to be representative of a greater population or whole. So, But when it comes to like which areas are the most impactful, they typically get polled more than others. So we do get polled here for this stuff on the East Coast. It's just not as much. And the other set of the other set of this too is that how they contact people for getting polled is not particularly conducive for people who are more like online oriented. They don't have necessarily a home phone number. Their cell phones are set up to block basically damn near anything that's not somebody in their own contact list, things of that nature. Email is not easily reached, and so it can be challenging to be able to reach a lot of people as well, depending on what they use for their communication and how locked down they are with that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I've never personally, but probably for those reasons, where I live, my demographic, and then the modes of communication I even have open and available to that stuff. And frequently, I mean, how many times have I ever picked up a phone and it was somebody taking a survey of any kind, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. So it wouldn't be. It's probably not for lack of trying. They've probably tried, especially as I've gotten older and I'm into that like kind of that bracket of people that they'd be interested in, but I've never done it, and I don't know, honest to God, I don't know off the top of my head. Certainly, I don't think any of my immediate family. I don't think I've known anyone that, that's like that. I mean, they do try different methods. There's one mentioned in chat where they will just go to public locations, where it's frequently easier. People are more amenable to the idea of just answering a quick question or two in person when they're out and about. It's a higher hit rate, so they'll get answers that way. But it is a challenge, and I suspect it's only gotten harder with time to get good sample sizes in general for any kind of polling, for anything that isn't just directly, let's say, information pulled for things through, for algorithmic purposes, for shopping habits and for marketing and whatnot, right? Which is a different thing entirely from trying to do any kind of polling, whether it's political or otherwise. So yeah, it's a challenge, I'm sure. Probably a very difficult field to try to like maintain and do in any reasonable way. But yeah, there you have it. The follow up I think you had here was things aren't looking good for Polyev if they are to be believed. Well, like the thing about the support for either the parties here in Canada right now is that it's still pretty soft. There's a lot on the table on this election, and I'm still of the mind that depending on what happens south of our border between now and the election, and how either of these candidates handle that in the moment and how they speak to it, will have the ability to flip quite a number of people in terms of that. But at the same time, part of what you're seeing too is just the realities of where people defect from other parties in Canada, right? When people defect from the NDP or they defect from the Bloc, it's almost exclusively into the Liberals. It might be different this time, but historically that's what happens. Certainly with the NDP, the Bloc might be a bit more of a misnomer, but like typically speaking, when times are good, the Liberals will have more of their votes split because people are more comfortable from the Bloc and in the Bloc and the NDP are voting those parties federally. But then when times are bad, then typically you'll see their numbers drain. They'll reduce their seats, and those seats move into Liberal territory. And so I think a lot of what you're seeing there is that for sure. But yeah, it's interesting times. Interesting times, to say the least. On that note, that's going to be it. Discord is dead. Super dead. That was the last question anyway. So we will leave it there for this week. Thank you so much for hanging out. We hope that you enjoyed yourselves. We should be back next week as well. Of course, again, I'm going to be away. If there's a focus on specific content, it will be, for StarCraft and whatnot. So there may be a podcast or two that we miss out on, obviously, if I'm not here to do it, especially. But otherwise, we will try to bank up all of our content for stuff like StarCraft for you guys while we're gone. Until we see you again, thank you so much once again for stopping by. And until we see you, have a good one. Stay safe out there. And peace!